reason why they will soon take over from me. And now, very briefly, to my own personal contributions concerning the theme and topic for today. I will say very respectfully that quite often people talk about a constitution made unto themselves by we the people. In Nigeria, who are these people? What manner of people are we as Nigerians? I believe the distinguished speakers will enlighten us on that very, very critical aspect of our analysis. Within the short time I have here, I would like to say that my researches for over 60 years have encouraged me to believe that there are more people in Nigeria than of Nigeria, and it makes an important difference. More people in Nigeria than of Nigeria. And maybe this is one reason why we seem to have very few active citizens and more of passive citizens. In other countries, it is not like that. We in our country, again my studies reveal, are either visa Nigerians. We remember our country only when we need visas, or we are hyphenated Nigerians. Hyphenated because we have other primordial loyalties, and these count for a lot when it comes to being committed to the cause of Nigeria. How could 140 million Nigerians, using the 2006 census, be committed to democracy in the same manner? I don't think so. We are not committed to democracy in the same manner. In some countries, there is a recognition that people will talk of one man, one vote, and stop there. That's not good enough. It should be one man, one vote, one value. In Nigeria, that is not true. We hardly have the same value for the rich and the poor in our country. And so, our contributions to democracy do vary a great deal for leaders and those who follow them, for rulers as well as the ruled. I'm sure that most of you here would like to know whether, having said what I've just said, and briefly and quickly, we have any guide, since this is an international conference, whether we can learn something useful from elsewhere. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I say to you and to myself that there is one such model, and that explains a great deal of things that are missing in our country, as I find in my own researches. It is the UNESCO motto. The UNESCO motto. And it says in paraphrase that since wars begin in the minds of people, it is in the minds of people we should also trace the causes of terror, of violence, of counter-violence. We may talk about Boko Haram. I've written a great deal about Boko Haram. I do know they are not Democrats, but they are a serious challenge to democracy as we know it and as we practice it. But shall we forget that there were militants before Boko Haram in Nigeria? There was, of course, and still is, MASOP, OPC, and those very close to us, MEND. And in the part closest to Boko Haram, we have, once upon a time, from the 1980s to about 1992, a body known as Maitatsine. They merely disappeared. Few people found out where they went. Today you talk of Boko Haram. Please don't forget the roots and other aspects of those who had taken up the mantle of militancy in our country. You may talk also about rigging. Can I also quickly tell you that my studies indicate that between 1923 and 1947, the elections of those 2 years, we had a model that is still eluding us. There was no rigging. In one of the constituencies in Lagos and Calabar, there was a winner who had a majority of 1, and the Lagos press hailed it as God's casting vote. But today we don't have that. And the factors, the challenges are quite visible for us to know. Responsible government is one, independence government is another. The struggle also for power, political power, the struggle also for wealth, and the struggle simultaneously for fame. These three make things very difficult for a meaningful democratic platform in our country. I'm rushing, as you can see, and soon I'll finish. We have this democracy objective, the dream, but there's a twilight of it because of what I said a little earlier, that we do not have the same value for maybe 140 million Nigerians or more. We have the poor, the unfortunate in our midst. I reckon that most of us here, no, I shouldn't say that, that in Nigeria, perhaps 1% of the total population will comprise rich people, wealthy people. 99% constitute the poor people. There is imbalance. Are you surprised that there is lack of stability and that we have insecurity and we have no peace? Now, I'm going to end very quickly in maybe 2 minutes. Are we ready, come 2015, to redress the balance so that the poor will not just be the poor, but they will be poor people, relatively poor people with political power, and that their votes will count as much as the votes of the so-called wealthy people. The prospects, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I can see them, are not glorious. They are not promising. And I believe that this is the place where we can look up and say one or two more challenges facing us now, likely to persist till 2015, and perhaps beyond 2015 if we are not careful. Ladies and gentlemen, the familiar rule of law precept that underlines democracy in other countries is sadly absent or aberrant in its own performance. The rule of law, making it everybody to be subject to law, in our country has become the rule of man. And so you have the impotence of the judiciary, the impotence of the judiciary in its confrontations with the executive. Now, can we, as chairman, give me just 1 or 2 minutes to say something to the confab? We have the National Assembly, some of them here with us. Through them, we can send a message to the confab people that, one, they should regard themselves as people, men and women, who will justify the confidence, the trust we repose in them. Secondly, they should not do anything whatsoever which will make their current enterprise end in glory and smoke. What is more, they should also recall, without further delay, a serious challenge put before all of us. I was alive then, and most of you were alive then. In September 1966, when General Yakubu Gowon invited a group of people to come out with a unique constitution for Nigeria, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, till today, nobody has taken up